There are moments in life when you feel like you are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You wake up every morning, pushing through the day, trying to hold everything together, yet inside you are exhausted. People see the smile on your face, but they don't see the tears you cry in the dark. They hear your words, but they don't hear the silent prayers you whisper when no one is around. You may feel unnoticed, unappreciated, and unheard, but let me tell you, God sees you. The Bible tells us that not even a sparrow falls to the ground without the Father knowing, Matthew 10:29. If He cares that much for a small bird, how much more does He care for you? You are not invisible to God. Every struggle you endure, every battle you fight, He sees it all. He knows when you're weary, He knows when you feel like giving up, and He knows the depth of the pain you don't share with anyone else. You may wonder, if God sees my struggles, why doesn't He take them away? My friend, God's love is not measured by the absence of hardship, but by His presence in the midst of it. He is watching over you, strengthening you, and preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. He has never abandoned you, and He never will. The same God who led His people through the Red Sea, who strengthened David in the wilderness, and who lifted Peter when he was sinking, He is the God who is with you right now. God sees you. He knows your struggles, and He is not done with you yet. Life places many demands on us. You wake up each day with a list of things that need to be done. Bills to pay, children to raise, work to finish, relations to manage, and expectations to meet. Some days it feels like you are carrying the world on your shoulders. You don't complain because people depend on you. You keep going because you have no other choice. But deep inside you are exhausted. God sees that. He knows what it means to carry a heavy burden. When Jesus walked this earth, He bore the weight of humanity's sin, sorrow, and suffering. He understands what it means to feel the pressure of responsibility. He understands the long nights of worry, the moments of self-doubt, and the exhaustion that comes from trying to hold everything together. The good news is that you don't have to carry it alone. Jesus said in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." He didn't say, fix yourself first. He didn't say, carry it a little longer. He simply said, come, bring your burdens to Him. Lay them at His feet. Trust that He is strong enough to carry what you were never meant to bear alone. Maybe you've been holding on for too long, thinking that you must be strong for everyone else. But the truth is, God never asked you to do it all by yourself. He is your strength when you have none left. He is your help when you feel overwhelmed. The weight you are carrying is not too heavy for Him. Let go and let God hold you up. There are times in life when loneliness creeps in like a shadow. You can be surrounded by people yet feel unseen. You can smile yet feel empty inside. The weight of your struggles makes you wonder if anyone truly understands what you're going through. Maybe you've cried yourself to sleep asking, God, where are you? But let me remind you, just because you feel alone does not mean you are alone. Feelings can lie, but God's promises never do. In Deuteronomy 31:6, He says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Not once has He abandoned you, not in your darkest nights, not in your hardest moments. Even when you couldn't feel Him, He was there, holding you, strengthening you, carrying you through. Think about the footprints in the sand. When you look back at your life, you may only see one set of footprints during the hardest times. But that is not when God left you. That is when He carried you. When the world turns its back, God remains. When friends walk away, God stays. When you feel too weak to go on, He whispers, I am with you. You may feel forgotten, but God has never lost sight of you. He has counted every tear, heard every unspoken prayer, and walked every painful step beside you. Even now, in this very moment, He is closer than you think. You are never alone. There are moments in life when the storms come without warning. You were doing fine, and suddenly everything changed. A financial crisis, a broken relationship, a sickness that came out of nowhere. The weight of it all feels unbearable. You wonder how much more you can take. You feel like you're drowning, gasping for air, struggling to stay afloat. But hear me today. No trial is greater than the power of God. No storm is stronger than His hand. Isaiah 41:10 reminds us of this truth. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Your strength may fail, but His never does. The trials that feel like they will break you are the very things God will use to build you. When the Israelites stood before the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army behind them, they saw no way out, but God made a way. When Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, it looked like the end, but God shut the mouths of the lions. When the disciples were caught in a violent storm, Jesus spoke and the winds obeyed. Your trial is not too big for God. It may feel overwhelming to you, but it is not overwhelming to Him. He is the one who parts seas, shuts the mouths of lions, and calms the storm. He will do the same for you. What the enemy meant for harm, God will turn for good. Hold on. His strength is carrying you through. There are times when words fail. You try to explain your pain, but no one truly understands. People may say, I know how you feel, but deep inside you know they don't. You smile in front of others, but when you're alone, the tears fall. You carry wounds that no one sees, battles that no one knows about. But let me tell you something powerful. God sees every tear. Not one falls unnoticed. Psalm 56:8 says, You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Think about that. The God who created the universe cares so much about you that He collects your tears. The world may overlook your pain, but God does not. He knows the heartbreak you don't talk about. He understands the disappointments that weigh you down when people dismiss your struggles. He draws near. He doesn't just see your pain, He feels it. Jesus Himself wept when His friend Lazarus died. He knows what grief, sorrow, and suffering feel like. That's why He is not a distant God. He is close to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. You don't have to carry your pain alone. Bring it to God. Pour out your heart before Him. He hears your cries, and He will not leave you in your suffering. The same God who wipes away every tear will one day turn your mourning into joy. Hold on. Your pain is not unseen, and your healing is coming. There are days when you wake up feeling empty, too drained to keep going. The weight of your struggles has taken its toll. You try to push forward, but your strength is failing. You want to be strong, but inside you feel weak. You may even feel ashamed of that weakness, as if you are supposed to have it all together. But listen to me. Your weakness is not a failure. It is an invitation for God to step in. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, the Lord says, My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Did you hear that? When you are weak, He is strong. When you have nothing left, He becomes your everything. Think about David standing before Goliath. He wasn't the strongest warrior. He wasn't the biggest or the best trained, but he had something greater, God's strength. Think about Moses, a man who doubted himself, who felt unworthy to lead, yet God's power worked through him to part the Red Sea. Over and over in Scripture, we see this truth. The weaker you feel, the greater His power can be in your life. You don't have to pretend to be strong. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your own. God is your strength. He lifts you up when you can't stand. He carries you when you can't walk. Trust Him in your weakness, and He will show you His power in ways you never imagined. We live in a world that teaches us to wear a mask, to hide our struggles, to act like everything is fine even when we are breaking inside. Society tells us to be strong, to keep moving forward, to never show weakness. But the truth is, pretending to be strong only exhausts you more. It drains your soul, leaving you feeling empty and alone. But here's the good news. God never asked you to pretend. He never told you to hide your pain or act like you have it all together. In fact, He invites you to come as you are. Jesus said in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." He didn't say come when you're strong. He didn't say come when you have it figured out. No, He simply said come. God wants the real you, the tired you, the broken you, the struggling you. He wants you with your doubts, your fears, and your burdens. He is not impressed by fake strength. He is drawn to honest surrender. When you stop pretending and bring your pain to Him, that's when healing begins. Look at the people Jesus called. He didn't choose the perfect or the powerful. He chose fishermen, tax collectors, and sinners. He sat with the broken, the outcasts, and the weary. Why? Because He came for those who knew they needed Him. So stop trying to carry it all alone. Stop acting like you're fine when you're not. God already knows your heart, and He loves you just the same. Come as you are. His arms are open, and His grace is enough. Life has a way of pressing down on you. The weight of expectations, responsibilities, and hardships can feel like too much to bear. Some days it feels like you're being stretched beyond your limit. You smile in public but feel shattered in private. The pressures of family, work, finances, and personal struggles can leave you feeling like you're one step away from falling apart. But listen to me. When life tries to break you, God is the one who holds you together. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." You may feel like you're barely holding on, but God's hands are holding you. He is the glue that keeps your heart from shattering completely. He is the foundation that keeps you from collapsing under the weight of it all. When everything around you feels unstable, He remains unshaken. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. He had every reason to break under the pressure. But through it all, God was with him. God sustained him, strengthened him, and in the end elevated him to a place of purpose. The same God who held Joseph together is holding you right now. The pressures of life may come, but they will not destroy you. The fire may burn, but you will not be consumed. You are not held together by your own strength. You are held together by the mighty hands of God. Trust Him. He will not let you fall. There are moments in life when you pray, but it feels like heaven is silent. You cry out to God, but there's no answer. You wait for a breakthrough, but nothing seems to change. The silence can be painful. It can make you wonder if God is listening, if He sees your tears, if He cares. But hear me today. Just because God is silent does not mean He is absent. Just because you don't hear Him doesn't mean He hasn't heard you. Psalm 34:17 says, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers drains you, breaks you, and makes you question why you have to go through so much." You may be asking God, why me? Why am I facing this? Why won't you take it away? In those moments, it's easy to believe that pain is pointless. But let me tell you something. Your pain is not wasted. God is using it for a purpose far greater than you can see right now. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." That means even your suffering, even your struggles, even your tears, God is using them to shape you, to strengthen you, to prepare you for something greater. Look at the story of Joseph. He endured betrayal, slavery, and years of imprisonment. But in the end, he saw that every painful moment had led him to the place God had prepared for him to save an entire nation. What the enemy meant for evil, God used for good. Think about gold. It has to go through intense fire to be purified. A diamond is formed under pressure. A seed has to be buried before it can grow. Likewise, your pain is not the end, it is the process. God is refining you, molding you, and strengthening you for something far greater than you can imagine. So don't give up in the middle of your pain. Trust that God is working, even when you don't understand. What seems like a season of breaking is actually a season of preparation. You are not being destroyed, you are being shaped for your destiny. Hold on. God is not finished with you yet. You may feel abandoned, rejected, or forgotten. The weight of your struggles can make it seem like even God has distanced himself from you. But let me remind you of this unshakable truth. God has promised that he will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:6 declares, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." That means no matter how dark the valley, no matter how deep the pain, you are not walking through it alone. Think about the 3 Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were thrown into the fiery furnace for refusing to bow to an idol. But in the fire, they were not alone. The king looked in and saw a 4th figure walking with them. Jesus himself was in the fire with them. They were not consumed because God was right there beside them. That same God is with you right now. You may not feel him, but he is closer than you think. You may not see the way out, but he is guiding your steps. Psalm 23:04 says, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." God's presence is not based on your emotions. It's not dependent on your circumstances. It is his eternal promise. He is with you in the storm, in the trial, in the weariness, and in the waiting. So rest in his promise. You are never alone. You are never forsaken. The God who holds the universe is holding you, and he will never let you go. Some days life feels overwhelming. You wake up feeling drained, burdened, and unsure if you have the strength to face another day. The weight of responsibilities, disappointments, and unanswered prayers can make you wonder if you'll ever make it through. But listen to me. God has promised to give you the strength you need for today and the hope you need for tomorrow. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." That means no matter how exhausted you feel, God is ready to renew your strength. Think about Elijah. He was a mighty prophet, yet after facing opposition, he became so weary that he asked God to take his life. He felt completely drained, like he had nothing left to give. But what did God do? He didn't rebuke Elijah. He sent an angel to provide food, water, and rest. And after Elijah was strengthened, he was able to continue his journey. God knows exactly what you need. He sees your tired heart, and he is ready to give you fresh strength. He may not take away the struggle immediately, but he will give you the power to endure it. Lamentations 3:22 and 23 reminds us, "His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning." That means every single day, God gives you fresh grace to keep going. And he doesn't just give you strength for today, he gives you hope for tomorrow. Whatever you are facing is not the end of your story. Your future is in God's hands, and he is preparing something greater for you. So take heart. He will give you the strength to stand today and the hope to keep believing for a better tomorrow. Right now, you may feel like you're in the middle of a storm. The winds of life are raging, the waves are crashing around you, and you can't see a way out. Maybe it's a financial storm, a health battle, a broken relationship, or a season of deep discouragement. You wonder if this struggle will ever end. But let me remind you, no storm lasts forever. Seasons change. Rain eventually stops. The sun will shine again. And the same God who allowed you to enter this storm is the one who will bring you through it. Psalm 35 declares, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." Think about the disciples in the boat with Jesus. A fierce storm arose, and they were terrified. They thought they were going to drown. But where was Jesus? He was right there in the boat with them, asleep. When they cried out to him, he stood up and spoke to the wind and waves, saying, "Peace, be still." And immediately the storm calmed. That same Jesus is with you in your storm. He hasn't abandoned you. He hasn't forgotten you. Even when the winds are howling, he is in control. He can calm the storm in an instant, or he can give you peace in the middle of it. Either way, he is bringing you through. Isaiah 43:3-2 gives us this promise. "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you." Notice it doesn't say if you go through deep waters. It says when. Storms are a part of life, but they don't last forever. Hold on. The storm you're facing will not last. The clouds will part and the breakthrough will come. Trust that God is leading you through, and soon you will look back and see how he carried you all the way. When life is hard, worship may be the last thing on your mind. When you're tired, discouraged, and overwhelmed, it's easy to withdraw, to stay silent, to focus on your problems. But worship is not just for the good times, it is your weapon in the battle. Praise has the power to shift your perspective, to lift your spirit, and to invite God's presence into your situation. Acts 16 tells the story of Paul and Silas, who were beaten, chained, and thrown into prison. They had every reason to feel hopeless, but instead of complaining, they began to sing praises to God. And what happened? Suddenly, an earthquake shook the prison, the chains broke, and the doors flew open. Their worship unlocked God's power. Praise is not about how you feel, it's about who God is. When you worship in the middle of your weakness, you declare that your God is greater than your circumstances. Psalm 22 verse 03 says that God inhabits the praises of his people. That means when you praise, his presence fills the atmosphere. Think about King Jehoshaphat. When his army faced an overwhelming enemy, he didn't send soldiers first, he sent worshipers. And as they praised, God caused confusion in the enemy's camp, and the battle was won without them even fighting. Your worship may not change your situation immediately, but it will change you. It will give you strength in weakness. It will remind you that God is still in control. So don't let the enemy steal your praise. Lift your voice even through the tears. Sing even when you don't feel like it, because when you worship, chains break, doors open, and God's power is released in your life. There are moments in life when you feel like you have nothing left to give. You're exhausted, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You've tried to be strong, you've tried to keep going, but deep down you're wondering, how much more can I take? But listen to me. God's grace is carrying you even when you don't feel it. His grace is the reason you're still standing. His grace is the reason you haven't been consumed by the storm. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." That means when you are at your weakest, God's strength is at its greatest. Think about Peter walking on water. As long as he kept his eyes on Jesus, he stayed above the waves. But the moment he looked at the wind and the storm, he began to sink. And just as he started to go on